And welcome to Trucking Talks Live, y'all. So, hey, we're going to talk about tire issues and issues with various shops and maybe how to approach some of these issues. There's been quite a bit of stuff going on recently, but you know what? Uh, First, we got to do this stuff, get out of the way, all right?
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Well, hey, everybody. Look, it's just me. Because Jeff, I don't know what the heck he's doing. He decided I'm just playing. He's here. I just didn't want to put him on the screen. He's like, "What do you mean? I'm right here, bro."
I'm lounging out in my Western Star. What are you talking
Well,
about?
you know, see, this is why we don't put Jeff on the screen, because he's got to talk about his Western Star and what a great, cool truck he's got now. Whatever. It's okay.
With an APU.
Oh, you bastard! Hey, a properly working APU.
That's right.
Because
so preliminary numbers, by the way, on that, folks, is when the APU wasn't working versus when now that it is about a mile per gallon. Now it's early days, but it's only a couple of fill-ups, but that's looking like that's what it is.
Right.
So if you're a solo guy, we've got some of our members. We got one who was it, Jim Wall.
Yeah.
That just had a tri-pack installed.
Tri-pack 3.
We're going to get numbers from him on that one and see, because he's a Swiftie too. So he was out there. He is a Swiftie, right? I get people confused. Yeah, he's a Swiftie. So he didn't have one. So now he's got one. So he's got all that data of having to idle a truck all summer, and he's putting it in just at the tail end of July. So it's a great time to test it out. August is going to be hot. Always is.
Exactly. So let's get out of the way. Wait, first, Craig.
Oh, yeah, Craig. It's almost boring at this point, Craig. It's like he stalks us. He's just on Facebook waiting.
Speaking of Jim Wall, he was second, just to say that he wasn't going to be here for the live. Just saying.
Yeah.
Chris Hamilton came in.
So I have a joke that's going to probably offend 80% of truckers. Are you ready?
Oh, here we go.
This is a quote from Bob Newhart, so it's not my fault. Bob Newhart, rest in peace. Everybody knows he died this week. He says, "I don't like country music, but I don't mean to denigrate those who do. And for those people who like country music, denigrate means to put down."
See.
I'm neutral on the country music debate. It's not my favorite kind of music, but it doesn't give me a headache or anything. So,
Dang that guy.
I know a lot of guys love it though.
Trucker Tim's in here. Good to see you, Tim.
Right.
Sorry the Target thing didn't work out for you. TK was here a little bit ago. James Bond is here.
Dennis Lewis in the house.
Yeah. Hamey will be catching a replay, I'm sure. Let's see who else. Josh McClain, good to see you, buddy. Oh, look, there's Donna. There's the Donna. Hey, Donna.
She works harder than both of us on all this stuff. I guys just put that out there.
Matt Nissen's peekabooing people. I don't know. It's not weird at all. That man's too big to play peekaboo. I'm just saying. I actually wait. Now I want to see him play peekaboo. Is that wrong?
I'm thinking that I don't know. His hands are pretty big too, so he could probably cover his whole face. He's a big dude. If you've never met him, the guy's just like huge.
I'm just saying.
He is not going to be the hide and seek champion anytime soon. Let's just say
right. That. Trucker Dan, what's up, buddy? Life on 18 Wheels, good to see you. Yeah, like Jeff said, Dennis Lewis, good to see you. What else we got going on? Mike Henderson is there. All right. We got people still coming in. I dig it. So here is my thing. I'm just gonna dive into this real quick because bear with me. I'm a little scattered. Migraines have been kicking my tail for the last 48 hours, something fierce, like way too many for the time period. Anyhow, couple different things. I'm going to focus this first part on tires. So we've had tire issues popping up, right? Different tire wear and things like that, and people trying to figure out what's causing these issues. Here's what I'm going to say. Most tire issues, and this is going to sound crazy to some people and those who are tire enthusiasts, I like to call myself.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, bro.
You know, those people who spend a lot of time learning about and trying to understand tires find that like 80% of the problems you find with your tires are usually from underinflation. You know, if the load is too heavy for your tire, you probably need to add more air. Here's where it's going to break your brain. If the load is super light, you need to add more air to your tires, right? I know it doesn't work, that it breaks the brain.
That breaks my brain just a little bit.
But it's because of the way that the tire is designed to move and flex while operating and not destroying itself. Most problems are caused by underinflated tires, which is why we are so big on keeping tires inflated to the proper pressure, checking them regularly. I say daily, doesn't always happen daily, but you should check them all the time. Okay. The tires are built to flex and heat up and do all these things. Okay. If you talk to Mike Beckett or Kevin Beckett over at MD Alignment, most of the time they're going to look at your tire and say, you have an underinflation problem. It's typically what's going to happen. It's going to be underinflation. You almost never hear of overinflation. Almost never. Balancing is a huge problem. Not having tires balanced properly. Using lead weights on the outside of rims is a bad way to balance a commercial truck because of the amount of miles that we do. Lead weight balancing, spin balancing, as they call it. Typically on the average vehicle out there where that's used, that balance is no longer good after 20, 30, 40,000 miles of driving. So unless you're going to do that every month for team drivers, or every other month, or every 3 months on a solo guy, something like that, and have them take them in to be removed from your truck, spun balanced, recalibrated, and rebalanced, makes no sense.
Well, there's also, Charlie, the difference in the weights we carry are going to change the physics of the tire.
Exactly.
And mess with that balancing, which is why we like wait for it, dynamic balancing.
Exactly. So, and okay, I have said in the past that I read at some point where uh smart balancing people said it was okay to use counteract and centromatics simultaneously. There was a point where that was a thing. Apparently at some point I missed a change. I can tell you that counteract now states that you should not use other internal weights or other wheel end type weights such as the centromatics. This is going to lead me into something else, so just bear with me here. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm changing my stance that you should not use both at the same time. Don't use centromatics and counteract beads. Pick one or the other and use that product. I still believe that counteract beads are the better product based on how they work and the physics involved, because they balance through centrifugal force around the circumference of the tire, as well as spread out across the face. So they can balance across the face in high-low spots there, as well as around the diameter of the tire, right? Centromatics sit on the wheel end inside the tire, so they balance the wheel end itself. They both achieve a great balance. What they're saying now is pick one or the other. If you have both, I can tell you that I advised someone today, as a matter of fact, that I would take one out. Pick one and go with it. Our buddy has both on now, and the shop is fighting him, and that's going to lead us into shop fights and shop issues here pretty soon. Saying that it's the use of both at the same time which is causing his problems. Our buddy knows, as well as we know, that the problems he's having could possibly be contributing to part of his issue, but it is not the main issue that he's having. And
Right.
having learned some new information about using both together, I can concede a small part, just a tiny bit, of his continuing problems could be related to using both products at the same time. So anyone that has heard me say you can use both, it's fine. I'm telling you right now that my stance has changed. I apologize for that, but we continue to get new data and learn new things about the things that we're doing. And that's why we share all these things with you guys, because when we find something that works better, then we want to pass that along. And that's what we're doing. So I'm going to say pick either centromatics or counteract beads. Don't use both.
We do like the beads better though, because
I think it's a better
again,
product.
like you were saying, Charlie, it balances the whole tire. So let me take the other side of that though. The centromatics, the reason why people like them is it because it balances the whole wheel assembly, because it's actually attached to the help me out,
The wheel end.
the wheel end. So that's a legitimate claim.
But wait. The counteract beads perform the same function, but work better. That's my argument. Because the way the centromatics mount, they mount just inside the rim.
Right.
Or in the event of duals, they mount between the two tires. So both will balance the entire wheel end. Counteract beads are the only ones that will spread across the face of the tire. So that's a thing. They both do the entire wheel end assembly because of the way that they work and the amount of weight involved and that sort of thing. Here's where we get into shop issues, I think. So we have a couple of our mega carrier shops where our buddy has been taking his truck, and they said at a cursory look, oh, you've got centromatics. The first shop didn't even know he had counteract beads in there. They just simply blamed it on the centromatics, said that's causing your wobble and problems, and we've taken them off and it's fine now. And he drove from and he argued and he said, wait a minute, there's some other problems you're not addressing. he drove from South Carolina to Indiana, had the problem the entire way, even though the centromatics were no longer there. My argument is, why is the wobble still there if you remove the balancing issue, right? He then had the centromatics reinstalled, brand new centromatics reinstalled, and the problem still remained. Went to another shop who immediately said, "Oh, you have both. Yeah, that's the problem. They're fighting each other." Okay, I can, like I said, I will concede a tiny bit of problem. Here's the main issue: his rear axle has shifted 3/4 of an inch to the right or left. I can't remember which way, to the point where his airbags, we see a lot where the airbags, let me tilt my hands, where the airbags point, opposing directions sometimes. And they really should be straight, but there's an axle. I was actually reading about this today, where there's a weird thing with the design of these axles now where they can't get away from this sometimes. But you should never see this with your airbags. That's not okay. And if you can see where the U-bolts used to mount on the axle, and you can see the marks where the U-bolts came across the axle, attaching it to the frame, and you are 3/4 of an inch off of that mark, clearly there's a problem.
Yes.
Either the U-bolts, the nuts have loosened for some magic reason, which doesn't typically happen, or the U-bolts have stretched from being over-torqued and pounded over time, which is what happens on with the Freightliner for sure. It happens because of the way that the axle and the U-bolts mount, okay, with the suspension. With the Kenworth, you don't typically have the issue with the U-bolt stretching because of, again, the way that their suspension and axles are mounted, because they're mounted a different way, and the stress is put on the U-bolts in a different manner. On the Freightliners, and I think the Volvos, the way the U-bolt is mounted causes stress and stretching on the U-bolts. Oh, not 3/4 of an inch, 1/4 inch. Okay, so still, I apologize. Thanks for fixing me, Matt. So that 1/4 inch of difference. Now, here's the problem. And the shop is stating, "Oh, there's no problem with that. It's okay." Here's the problem. You take your phone, okay? Put it on a flat surface, point it away from you, and push it with your finger in the center. What happens is, with pressure directly in the center, the phone will push straight away from the force being applied to it. If you take the force and apply it off center, one side or the other, what happens is, as you press that force to move that body, the front of that object turns away from the side of force being applied. This happens with your drive axle as well. If your drive axles are not aligned with the frame and with each other, you get that offsetting force, which starts causing problems in tire wear, in suspension wear, in component wear, in shocks, in your airbags being goofy directions, and everything else. So now the argument is, well, we're the shop. We know what we're talking about. Well, I argue at some shops, you're not a mechanic. You're a technician that's reading prompts out of a computer. And I'm sorry, and this will hurt some people's feelings, no better than tech support from another country. You're reading a script, following prompts, and when you don't like the response you get, you have a rebuttal for that. You're already scripted. You already know what you're going to say. And
Right.
That is not addressing the problem. Why is the axle a 1/4 inch over? First problem to solve. Are the U-bolt nuts loose? Or are the U-bolts stretched? If you haven't dealt with that right up front, you can't say, well, it's fine that they're offset. They're aligned with each other.
Yeah. Well, also I was part of that conversation, and that one just floored me, Charlie. well,
Right.
that's normal. It is not normal.
No.
And you know, so I just want
Geometry
everybody to
and
know.
physics.
I just wanted everybody to know that we avoided doing this publicly. We tried to get things solved in the background, but you know, this is an ongoing problem with shops at mega carriers. Specifically, our experience is the one that
Greer.
Charlie is
What's that
contracted
guy's
to,
name?
which is
Steve? What's
Swift.
the foreman's name? I'm going to call him out. Steve? Is that what it is? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the
Yeah.
foreman's name at the Greer shop is Steve. And his response, and this is why you guys that are my Swift guys, I want you to absolutely voice your choice when you have problems.
Oh, give him a 1-star rating and see how fast he calls you.
That is when he will address your issue. But he won't address your issue. What he'll address is he'll call you and say, bro, why'd you give me a 1-star? That's kind of messed up. Well, I don't know, because I had poor service. And I'm expressing that fact. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
That's what my carrier has asked me to do. You're not worried about the why I'm giving that. You're asking me why I did that instead of coming to you directly or some other thing. Your technicians are not performing to the level that we as the customer should demand and expect.
Right. And you know, that's the next part of our little rant here, if you will, is, you know, when you're going to these shops, you know, a lot of carriers, again, most of the people we know are at Swift, so we tend to meander that direction.
Right.
But you know, these shops, a lot of them, we're paying them. We are their customer. This is not a favor they're doing for us.
Right.
You know,
To the-
they
to
are
the point
making
of-
money.
At Swift, I can tell you that at Swift, a company truck goes into the shop. There is a labor rate that the Swift shop charges Swift Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Then when a contractor who is contracted at Swift brings in their truck, the labor rate that contractor is charged is higher than the rate that the company truck is charged. That to me establishes that we are absolutely a customer and that they're making money from this thing, right?
Right.
I mean, yes, it's cheaper than a lot of shops out there on the hourly labor rate. And we do get a break on parts. But yet on parts, they charge what they charge for their part or what they were charged for the part and then mark it up 20%. I'm not mad about that. I have no problem with them making a profit. Yeah, that's a service provided. I get that. I get the markup. But don't treat me as if, like Matt Nissen said here, I'm not a steering wheel holder. I'm a business owner, and I expect the people I'm doing business with to treat me as the customer that I am.
Right.
And if the problem is not resolved, and yet you're adamant that we're going to change this doohickey to fix this problem, when that problem is not fixed by you replacing that doohickey, don't charge me for that doohickey.
Right.
It didn't fix the problem. Take it back off.
Well, you know, that's why, you know, I would take my truck to outside shops. You know, the labor rate and the parts discount was pretty good at Swift. But you know what wasn't great? Waiting 3 days just to get diagnosed. Again, paying customer here. You are making money off of my need, right? That's fine. But you know, I would there were times, Charlie, that I would take my truck into a Swift shop just because I was already at a terminal. They'd be like, oh, you know, it's going to be 3 or 4 days before we can even get it in. I'd be on the phone to like a Freightliner dealership or somebody and say, hey, we could get me in. Oh, we could get you in this afternoon if you hurry. All right, I'll be there in 20 minutes.
Right.
Bam, bam, diagnosed that day. Costs more money, but what does it cost for me to sit for 4 days before I even get looked at?
Exactly.
And you know, that's a thing with that particular carrier. There is no respect really for the owner operator at the shops. I mean, it's not every shop. I have to put a caveat on this.
Right. It's not every shop.
There were 2 that I liked doing business with, and that would be specifically West Valley City and Phoenix. they seem to actually quote get it. You know, when I would go into those shops. Boy, Greer,
Yes.
you could just trigger me on that one. Josh McLean says it's easy to say, oh, that's supposed to be like that because of the wear of the vehicle. They just don't want to troubleshoot any more than they have to.
Yes.
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, we're going to call it out the way way we see it.
And
they don't want
this
to
is
do
not
their jobs.
just a Swift shop. Let's be clear. This is a lot of shops that are out there.
Right, and you know that's why I kind of gravitated towards, especially a local dealership that's local to me that I could build a relationship with. I think it's an Inland Freightliner in Salt Lake. I've had them do work on my truck. Great group of people. The one in Portland, I had a long-term relationship with. I can't remember her name because Charlie, you know, I don't remember names.
Right.
But there was actually a service writer there, and I would just make sure I talked to her every time I needed something done there. And I had a long-term relationship. And you know what? Couple of things when you're dealing with outside shops too. What I like to do is when I'm setting up the service, you're like, you know, I just live, you know, 30 miles away. I'm gonna go home. If you've got that jackwagon that's yelling at you and giving you a hard time, by all means, just get him out of here. Just let me know when my truck is done. And you know what, Charlie? I never noticed any delays. I think they actually got to me sooner because of that.
Right.
You know.
And Matt, the 10% that you're talking about is Swift's on-road department charging 10% for using your maintenance account and having them be the middleman in the billing process. It's 10%, or what is it, $10 minimum to utilize them to set up service and things like that. When you walk into a Swift parts shop and ask for a rim, let's just say, if their cost was $100, they're going to take that $100 and add 20% to it, and that is what you're going to pay. Every part that comes through their shop on your truck in their shop, or you purchase from the parts department, it has a 20% markup on it. I can show you invoices. In fact, I have an invoice that shows what it would have been had it been a company truck versus what it was actually supposed to be as a contractor, because someone messed up and invoiced me incorrectly. And then they said, oh, because I was mad when the total bill was, you know, $500 more in the end after I'd been given the first invoice. They're like, oh, our bad. We gave you the normal Swift company truck prices instead of the contractor prices. So there's a thing.
Right.
So, but you as the consumer, as the customer, you need to stand up for yourself, and you need to spend your money at places that you want to actually do business with. And when you run into places where you have these kinds of problems, and James Vaughn said Gary, Indiana has been great. Guess what? That was shop number 2 on our friend's shop list, who, without doing any real inspection, said, oh, it's your aftermarket balancing product that's causing your problems. Afterwards, after our friend said, hey, you know what? Send an email to multiple people in higher places and say, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come pick up my truck and I'm going to drop it off at the Greer terminal when I clean it out. Shortly after he sent that email, they said, oh, by the way, we just found one of your tie rods is bad.
After he threatened to turn the truck in.
After the threat. So they're all, I know that's a horrible blanket. They're all trying to do as little as possible to get you down the road, because especially in a mega system, a mega shop system. I mean, it's not just mega carriers, it's mega shops, right? If they can get you fixed well enough to get you out of their shop and the problem doesn't persist more than a few minutes down the road, they're happy you're out of their system. Next shop's problem that they have to do the warranty work on. Well,
and, you know, this is important because, you know, we talked to Jason, the president of Expediter Services, right? And he'll tell you all day long that he doesn't have a personal preference on brand. He has no brand loyalty in his company. What he does have is dealership loyalty.
Right.
There are only certain dealerships that he will buy trucks from and
Yes.
get trucks serviced at. And take the time, guys. Take the time. Find a good shop. I recommend that, especially if you're like me and you like to own your trucks, versus get to that ownership point. Find a local shop, and build a relationship with them.
Absolutely.
Heck, I had one of my friends from high school working on my truck because he's a certified diesel mechanic that works for a mid-sized carrier. Yeah, he would tell me, look, dude, we could do it this way or we could do it right.
Right.
That's
the dude you paid how to teach you to do your service, right?
Right. And if you have a friend like that, dude, don't abuse him, but absolutely use him, because anytime I had him wrench on my truck, he showed me what he was doing.
Right. That's what I miss about my guy with my other, with Chewy, the paid for truck, was he came to my house and did work here. And if I wanted to wrench with him, he'd get me down there and point me in the right direction and supervise me. And I still paid him his hourly rate.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't want to do any wrenching and I just wanted to stand there or sit in a chair and watch him work, he'd tell me what he's doing. Or if I just wanted to be in the house and be gone, he'd handle it and tell me what he did afterwards.
Right.
So building those relationships is huge. Let's just be real. I mean, we're always harping on it, but in a shop mechanic type environment, look, I had a really good relationship with the Freightliner dealership up in Lake City, Florida, when I was having some issues with Chewy. And it just got to the point where I went there to buy all my parts that I was going to replace or my mechanic needed, because they were hooking me up with good prices even. Or when I had work that my mechanic was like, nah, bro, I'm not going to tear apart your transmission. Because, my guy's not going to give me a warranty. Freightliner is. Right.
Right.
So, but I had the relationship with the service writer, and I mean, he knew who his good guys were in his shop. Let's be real. And he'd tell me, hey, man, it's going to be an extra day because I got Skippy over there who's great at changing oil. Not real good at doing an overhead.
Right.
So my guy that does overheads really well, he's going to be tied up till tomorrow. So it's going to be an extra day. You cool with that? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes, sir. Thank you for letting me know. Instead of putting Skippy on it, who can change the oil. I don't want to be his first overhead. I'm sorry. I want you guys to learn, but I don't want to be your first.
Right.
But I got to that point because of the relationship that I built with them, right? And I'm trying to build a relationship at Ocala. It's to the point now where I walk in and they're like, bro, we got your contract right here. What other work are we doing besides what's on your contract here? Right.
Right.
And so, whether I don't know if that's a good relationship or not, but they know who I am when I walk in and they know what I expect.
And I think that's important, is to let these people know exactly what you expect, because they're not mind readers. Right. There was another thing, Charlie, that you wanted to bring up. And that is, don't be telling them what your personal diagnosis is for your truck.
Yes. God, please don't do that. It happens too many times. The guy goes in and says, hey, man, my tie rod's bad. I need new tie rod ends. And the shop says, all right, bro, we're going to change your tie rods.
And that's all they do.
That's what they did. They didn't inspect it. They just said, hey, man, the guy wants new tie rods. We're going to put new tie rods on. Right. But maybe that wasn't your issue. Why not go in in fact, absolutely go in and do this instead. Say, hey, I've got this problem. I've got shaking. I've got wobble. I've got free play, whatever it is. Don't diagnose the problem. Give them the symptoms. Let them diagnose the problem. Because if you diagnose the problem 9 times out of 10, because they want to take the easy route, they want to get you in, get your money, and get you down the road. They're going to say, we changed the tie rods, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. We did exactly what you told us to do. Don't do that. That's setting you up for failure, because now when the tie rods aren't the problem and you've got brand new tie rod ends and you still have a problem, well, you've got no leg to stand on to go back and fight about it later. Right?
Right.
So be real careful about that.
Give them
Explain the
every
symptom.
opportunity to do their job.
Right. Encourage them to do their job. Give them as many details as you can about the problem that has been created or that you are having. Don't diagnose it yourself unless you're just going to do the work and eat the cost. Don't get mad when, by some fluke or something that they replace the tie rod ends and it didn't solve your problem, because you told them exactly what to do. You were the customer. They did what you asked.
Right. Take a breath, Charlie.
I am a little grumpy pants the last couple of days. Jeff can tell you I've not been a pleasant person to talk with lately. It takes a lot of energy to not to be grumpy pants. I'm just saying. And I'm tired. I don't have the energy. It's just real, man. It's just been a rough week and health, neck, migraine things, whatever. But yeah. So I mean, with that being said, remember the relationship that is there that you need to build and cultivate. They are a service provider. You are the customer. You're not the technician. Don't do their job. When they don't do their job, and you can call them on that part of it, that's the relationship it should be. And if you need to seek someone else to give you a professional opinion, such as our buddy who we were talking about, I'm not going to, I don't want to call him out by name. I'm just not. People who know. IYKYK, right? Anyhow, he can call himself out if he wants to. That's fine. What I'm saying is that, at some point, you as the customer need to allow the technician to do their job. And if you need to seek out other opinions, just like you would a doctor with something serious, find a second opinion. And when the first place you're dealing with says, yeah, we talked to your guy and he said it was great, and you talk to that guy and he says, no, man, I don't know what you're talking about. This is what I told him, and it's completely different than what that other shop is telling you. There's a problem. And in this case, some things need to happen. And our guy kind of knows what needs to happen, and he's extremely frustrated. And I get it, brother. I'm just going to tell you, I understand. And it's all frustrating. It all sucks the way that it's happening. But I think you have the high ground and the legs to stand on with your argument. And look, man, I'll come fight with you. You know that. Let's see if we can't fix things like that. But with that being said, what kind of issues, have you guys run into? Not all of you are Swift guys and things like that. What kind of shops do you run into? Things like that. Let us know. All right. Let us know about great shops. Fantastic freaking people that do actual mechanics.
Right.
That they're not just reading prompts off a screen, which is unfortunate, but that seems to be the majority of most shops these days. Is they're not even called mechanics anymore. They're technicians, right? Words matter. A mechanic is someone who works in the mechanical field and understands mechanical work and mechanics, right? A technician typically follows prompts and a script and diagnoses by computer. That's how I've seen that definition. That's what I've seen in my dealings with places where they say we have technicians and we have mechanics. We have places that have technicians and mechanics. Why is there a differential in those two titles? Why did you put a technician on my truck instead of your mechanic? Which you told me This guy's a technician. He's learning. This guy's a mechanic. He knows it all.
Right. Well, and Swift as a company, one of the ways that they make money is training new people, and it's not just drivers. They have programs for people to become a technician and learn how to become a mechanic, and so you do deal with that a lot at Swift. So I think, Charlie, that's one of the reasons why you got such a good deal over there on the labor rates and things.
Right.
So my buddy that used to help me with the 16, he's one of those people, right? And man, I love this guy. Best of friends since middle school. Very skilled at what he does, but he never bothered to go get the certificate. Okay. So he doesn't have the piece of paper saying he's a diesel mechanic.
Right.
He has the piece of paper from his carrier that says that he's certified to work on their trucks. But he's the lead there, which is interesting to me.
Right.
And so he makes, I think he said $32 an hour. People don't start there. People start at 17.
Right.
But he's at 32. If he just went and got his certificate to the piece of paper that say he was a diesel mechanic,
right,
he'd be making $50 an hour.
Right.
So there's that difference in what an actual piece of paper will get you paid. And that's why if you go into a Swift shop, you'll see maybe 2 or 3 white shirts and a bunch of blue shirts. And one of those white shirts is the shop steward, the man in charge of everything. So he doesn't really count. So, but yeah, I think that's part of why the labor rates are so good there, is that they're an entry-level company all around in many ways.
Right.
I know they're trying to change that perception, but yeah, let's look at the realities.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Right. You got to start somewhere, whether it's driving or if it's wrenching, or you got that they'll hire you as an ECT, which is after hour support, basically.
Right.
They don't make very much, but man, it gets you in that office.
Right.
Right. Gets you the experience. And a lot of those people, they're around for a couple of years and they go into a dispatch position in some other company.
Right.
Or they move up in Swift to become driver leaders.
So like Michael Fowler said, there's a person in Jonestown yard, and that's a Swift yard, by the way, for anyone who's not a Swiftie. His dude's name is Bobby. Very good at finding and fixing issues. Those are the people you need to seek out in these shops. You need to find, because look, most of these shops have, there's usually one guy at least, right? There's one guy. That dude is sharp as hell.
Hey, Charlie, you'll remember this guy, Alan.
Yep.
In Salt Lake City.
Yep.
And when Swift bought out Central Refrigerated and moved to the new terminal, he retired. And that was a sad, sad day for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because this dude, man, you need something? Oh, we don't have it? Well, let me go look and see if I got some angle iron. Maybe we could weld something together.
Right? That guy was a problem solver, man. He didn't have problems. He had solutions.
He looked like Gollum, but hey,
right.
But
again,
I think he was like 100 years old.
He didn't see problems. He found solutions. He made solutions. Right.
Yep.
And trying to find that today is tough. We're not trying to be those guys. Well, back in my day, sometimes it happens. It's just real. But we've had people
less
in
than
our
a decade
past.
ago, so we're not talking that far.
Right. Sorry, I'm on a new kick drinking water. I apologize. I still need another Mountain Dew. I've had 2 of these big bottles of water. I may have to run in the middle of the show. I'm just saying, because I've been pounding water. Anyhow,
don't be like other YouTubers, make sure you turn your microphone off.
Oh my God, you went there. Anyhow, so yeah, I mean, life on 18 wheels. It is absolutely a way to keep that labor cost low and profits high. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, we are. I know that this is a dirty word these days, but we are capitalists.
Exactly.
We get it. We get business. We understand, that labor rates are part of the overhead especially for a company like Swift. Now that I'm at a smaller carrier, Charlie, I've noticed that I talk to the same people
Right.
over and over again, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's the beauty of a smaller carrier, trust me.
Because they have that one office in Ohio, so when you call in, that's where you go.
Right.
And I think that one of the ways Panther probably, and I haven't been able to get into the C-suite over there yet. We're working on it, but once I learn more about how they do things and how they really operate behind the scenes, I bet we're going to see that they run pretty lean. But I tell you what, their people are skilled. So that's another way to boost your bottom line is maybe you do pay less people more money because the skills are there.
Exactly. Pay for
you
quality.
Look at a mechanic shop. Well, let's use Bruce's shop, for instance. That dude pays through the nose for his mechanics.
Right.
But I tell you what, if they tell you that it'll take 10 days to get something done, it will be done on day 10. He knows exactly, what his schedule looks like, what his people are capable of, and they do really good work over there. But he has fewer employees, but they're all highly skilled employees.
Right.
And that's how he built his business.
And that's huge. Do you pay 10 guys 15% of what you would pay the one guy with the absolute knowledge that costs you, that much more? Absolutely, I think.
Right.
Given most situations. I mean, look, if you have a quantity issue, then yes, I get that. You make money in bulk, right?
Yeah, I remember when when Bruce was talking about two of his employees specifically. One's an electrical engineer, an engineer, not a technician, not a
like a legitimate collegiate engineer.
Engineer, and the other's a mechanical engineer, not a mechanic, an engineer.
Yes.
And the reason he hired these two was because they have the ability to look at the problem that the mechanics bring to them and say, okay, do this, this, and this. We need to see where. I'm fascinated by the fact that he has an electrical engineer because of all the electrical problems we have in these trucks.
Right.
He's got it set up to where those engineers get consulted by the mechanics, and it lowers the lead time of getting something done. They because of their skill, their education, they're able to eliminate things that you and I, Charlie, might say, well, maybe it's this. Let's take a look at that. Engineers can go, why are you looking at that? That's not even connected to that other part. He knows that. We don't know that, right?
Right.
So there, different ways to do things. If you guys are looking at scaling your business, adding trucks,
right?
Eventually, you're going to have office staff. Really think about what are you going to pay for, right? I know that Rob, the small fleet owner that I'm working with right now, kind of a weird relationship, but anyway, he's got 2 office staff that I've met. I don't know what he pays them, but those 2 people run his day-to-day operation. So I imagine he pays them enough to keep them, right? Otherwise they'd be gone, right? So yeah, really think about that when you get to the point where you're hiring people. You get what you pay for with employees, just like anything else. Dennis Lewis says, the company I'm with now, we only have 1 terminal, but I can say that if there is an issue, it gets handled on the road, and the shop in Illinois is great. Yeah. That's one of the things I'm digging. You guys all know that I spent 18 years at the mega of all mega carriers, Swift, and I just changed this year. Let me tell you, I'll tell you a little bit about that too. I know that some of you have asked me about it. Switching carriers is a pain. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, you just go over to this carrier or that carrier. There's a learning curve. And it has absolutely hit me in the pocketbook to do this change. You know, I'm starting to get my feet wet. I've been with these people for going on 3 months now. I'm starting to figure out the rhythm, and I'm back into profit. But don't expect to just like go from Swift to Landstar and make more money overnight. That's not going to happen.
Mhm.
You know, and I picked Landstar on purpose because you know I always had a fascination with them.
Fetish. Say the
But
word.
you know, I've talked to enough of their BCOs, they call them over there, to know that if you're going to make the leap to them, just plan on 6 months before you really start making money. Because all this stuff that we teach on the channel and we teach in our community about building relationships, that's no joke at some of these other carriers. You guys that are used to the mega carriers where, oh, you just kind of do your thing, and maybe they have a load board that sort of kind of works, but not really. But at least you can see what the freight's looking like, and you're just kind of tree in the wind, I guess. That don't fly in other carriers. Right here at Panther, right? I'll let you in on a little thing, and if Rob's people are watching, they're going to shake their heads going, why the heck are you? Anyway, so today, on purpose, I did not call them, Charlie, because we had stuff to do with Road Warriors, right? And I just had this thing of, well, if they have a load for me and they let me know about it, I'll work. But otherwise, I'm just going to do Road Warrior entrepreneur stuff all day. I didn't call them. I guarantee you, if I had called them, I wouldn't be on the show right now. I would have gotten a load. But that's, you know, that's one of the big differences. You know, you guys are like, we've taught you people at Swift that to stay moving, you need to make your phone calls, you need to get to know planners and things like that.
Right.
And that's just kind of a nice thing because Swift will actually just like, hey, your PTA is this, you're such and such in line, and here's a load. That doesn't seem to happen as much over here. And from what I'm talking to people, now that I'm not in a Swift truck, here's something that's interesting. Other drivers are more willing to talk to me now.
Right.
So I've been talking to
not to
Landstar
talk
guys.
to you, but listen.
Right. So I've been talking to Landstar guys. I've been talking to Variant guys. I've been talking to these guys, those guys, every guys, Forward Air guys, talking about how their companies run. And that Swift just wait for a load thing,
Right.
that's not normal. I'm finding.
Right.
You know, I always kind of knew that, Charlie, but now that I'm out of that system,
Right.
and I'm talking to more people because of the Road Warrior thing, you know, now that we're full steam on that thing, I'm just talking to more people. And I'm learning that it's really odd the way we operated at Swift. And I'm wondering, now that I'm out, right? I'm on the outside looking in. I think that our curriculum on building those relationships, what if you took that class on Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community, which is coming, by the way. We're going to be doing a class specifically on relationship building and negotiation. What if you took that to Swift? Wouldn't that make you an outlier? Wouldn't that make you someone special?
Right.
Wouldn't that make you more memorable if you were to actually do these things?
Right. And look, let's face it. This is why people like Jeff and myself have had good success at Swift in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went out and we built those relationships, you know, and people learn that we're not just going to sit around and wait.
Right.
You know, we're actively seeking freight in the middle of the load we're already in. And I could be 3 days out, 2 days out of being empty. And I'm already like, hey, I'm coming into your area. Just want to let you know. I was wondering, you know, what freight's looking like when I get there. And I've already asked that before I even accepted the previous load typically.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on my way over there, and I was wondering, you know, if there's anything you need, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I can help out in any way, you know, and I would appreciate if you could look out for me and get me rolling as well.
Right.
Right.
And you know, so So here's the fantasy that a lot of people have, Charlie, because I've been, again, talking to people.
Right.
Here's one of the fantasies that ended up being a limiting belief in our business. I'm going to go out and get my authority.
Right.
I'm going to use the DAT load board. And what people think they're going to do is they're going to take a load. They're going to get to the other end. They're going to get it unloaded. And they're going to look at that board and get another load. Rinse and repeat. That is not how it works in reality. You know, we always talk about the cheap freight thing. What is cheap freight? Well, it depends, right, on what your overhead is. When you're leased to a carrier, cheap freight is like $1 a mile, right?
Right.
If you've got all the expenses of having your own authority, you better be doing better than $2 a mile, or you're not taking anything home. We've seen the numbers. So, sure, you could operate that way. You could just say, okay, I'm unloaded. Now let's see what Dad's got today. But you're not getting that $2 freight if you do that. The guys that are getting, you know, I was talking to a guy the other day that he wasn't like big on the cheap freight thing, but he was telling me that his average haul is over $3 a mile in a dry van. I'm like, well, according to Dad itself, the average is only like $1.80, 85 this week. How are you doing that? He's like, well, you know, it's not like I just go out on the load boards. I make phone calls. I have brokers that I have relationships with. And if he's got a load going to, say, Dallas, Texas, while he's picking up that load, he's on the phone to the broker in Dallas saying, hey, I'm going to be there in 2 days. What do you got? Let's talk. You know, it's like I've always said when I first started driving, and this, you don't see this so much anymore because everything's on a smartphone, right? But when Charlie and I first started driving, the flip phones were still cool, right? And you would see guys at the Petros, you know, paper spread across the counter, making phone calls, writing things down. You could hear them negotiating.
Staring up at the DAT board next to him.
Right. That's what it takes to make it on that, on what would you call it? The major leagues, I guess. I don't know, is the way people think about it. So you got to think about all that stuff. What are you willing to do to get those extra pennies per mile? What are you willing to do? Decide that ahead of time. This is what I'm willing to do, and this is not what I'm not willing to do. And so when you make that phone call, you've already got your parameters set. You know, I've talked to planners in the East Coast at Swift. They're like, well, you know, all we got is this, that, or the other thing. I'm like, well, if that's all you got, I mean, that's just not paying the bills.
Right.
It's below my threshold, whatever it was that I decided before I made that phone call. But there's always a but. There's always a big but, Charlie. But you need to be able to
big
pivot.
butt and smile. My bad.
You got to be able to pivot.
Right.
You know, you might have it set in your mind. I am only taking a load that's at least 500 miles and 5,000 pounds in the box.
Right.
So when you call that planner and they say, man, dude, the only thing I've got is this load going from Greer to Georgia, and it's 44,000 pounds. But hey, you know, when you get to Georgia, man, there's a ton of freight down there.
Right.
Time to pivot. Make that little bit of money to get down to Georgia, and then make the big money coming out.
Right.
And just so everybody knows, I don't know what Swiss freight market is in either market right now.
Right.
It's just an example.
Yeah.
You know? So don't
everybody's in South Carolina. I better get to Georgia.
Right. But yeah, that's the way you've got to do it. You know, you got to own your business. You know, that too many people that we talk to are paying for a job, and that's just not what we signed up for, man.
Right. And it's crazy because again, I know we're kind of beating the hell out of it, but you need to be active. You need to be proactive. You need to be taking charge of your business, you know, own your business.
Mm-hmm.
Stop paying for a job and own your business. When something goes wrong in your business, it's typically your fault.
Yep.
Let's put the blame where it belongs. When my business is having problems, it's typically my fault. I can't even think of an example right now when it wasn't my fault.
Right.
Short of wait. I just thought of a caveat, right? Our friend's mechanical issues. He can't get them fixed. It's causing other struggles because of the choices that he's had to make because of that truck being in the shop.
Right.
Right. And there's a whole nother side of problems that's coming with his other option. I don't see that as his fault necessarily, but it is his business and it is his problem.
I would give that a further caveat, Charlie, and say it's not his fault yet.
Right.
Because he's got some decisions to make.
He does. And we've been talking about those decisions.
And he needs to make those decisions before his business collapses. Right.
You know, and we've active. I mean, today for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking with this dude who is really close to us. And we're like, okay, look, Jeff and I can advise and give our opinions and our thoughts, right?
Yep. And
typically our thoughts and opinions are based on data and real world experience, not just our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's up to him. He's the boss. He's the one that has to make that decision. And then he's the one that has to live with that decision. I mean, we typically give good, safe advice based on hard data and best practices that we have come to learn work best in most operations, right? That's not to say it's perfect advice in every operation or every instance. He, as the business owner, needs to take what we've given him, in our coach role or our consultant role, whatever you want to call us right now, and say, I like this, I don't like that, this is my decision. And then he needs to move forward with that decision and follow through. Right? We are going to do our best to make sure he doesn't make a snap, feelings-based rush decision because he has no other options.
Right.
And that's what we do. That's what we do as coaches in our community. That's what we do in a lot of these groups where we just throw around free information. We're trying to give people the best possible information and the best shot that they can get to make a sound business decision, not a snap judgment because I'm pissed off. And I've been there. Trust me. Jeff has talked me down several times on several different things. Yep. I'm done, bro. I'm out. I'm whatever. All right.
I'm going to take my 80% and go.
Right. And he comes at me. He's like, take a breath. Let me throw at you what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, and let's dive into it.
And there's been times where you've said, I see what you're saying, but I'm still doing this.
Right. Pound sand, bro.
Friends.
Thank you. Yeah, crazy
we're still
talk.
Friends. It's weird.
It's insane.
Shameless plug. So the friend that we've been talking about isn't just a friend. He is a client of ours. He's one of the founding members of the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs community. So, we've gotten a little bit of backlash since we started that thing, Charlie. Oh, it's $57 a month.
Right.
That. But this is what we do. When you're part of that group, we will walk you through your issues and we will look for solutions for you and with you.
Right.
This is way beyond what we have done for free in the past. This is like actual, we will coach you through these bad problems so that by the time you get to the end of this problem, this pain point as we like to call it, that you have some decisions that you can make that are not emotionally based. We may get done with a conversation with this and you're like, dude, I'm just done. Okay, well, let's talk about why you're done. And maybe that is the best decision for you. We don't know until we get into your business. But that's the true value of what we're offering is this very personalized information for your business.
And Jeff just told you $57 a month. Right now, we've got a deal going on for $37 a month. You lock in at that price, you'll be locked in at that price for your life.
That's right.
As long as you stay an active member in that group, you'll keep that $37 a month. Yes, come Labor Day though, it's going up to $57. That's what it's going to be. You will never see this $37 price again. Period.
Right.
It won't come back. We have absolutely committed 100%. The $37 price is for this launch and this launch only. That's how it's going to be, and I don't apologize for it. That's just what it has to be. But so with that being said, you can check that out. You can go to rwedrive.com and you can sign up there if that's what you're into and you're interested. We'd love to have you. We've got a temporary Facebook group set up right now that we're running it in while we finish up some stuff in the background on the hard community that's actually going to be hosted outside of Facebook in a real world. I'm just saying, yeah, that's not influenced by all this crazy news and other people's agendas.
Right.
Other than this.
And for those of you guys that have already signed up, by the way, and if you haven't looked today, Josh Hall, our mastermind coach, has put up some good stuff in the last 24 hours. He started posting in there. Look forward to more from him. We always look at ourselves as the two jackwagons on YouTube. Josh is a bona fide certified business coach that we hired to help us with getting this stuff out to you guys. And part of that is he's going to be doing truck specific business training for us in the near future. And he started off yesterday with some good tips on what was it, Charlie? It was on do these 5 things before you go to bed.
Right.
To move the needle forward in your business and in your life. So we're looking forward to that. He also used to be a broker agent. Did I get that right this time?
Yes.
So he does have some experience with trucking and the trucking business. And one of the things that we've asked him to do that he has said yes to, we're really excited about, is how to deal with brokers. How do you know if a broker's ripping you off? Right? And how to talk to them in their language so that you can come up with that win-win solution where you're making money, they're making money, and the customer gets taken care of. And I'm really looking forward to that one. And no, Tim, it's never going to be 25.
Right. I saw you see that too. I was like,
oh
nope.
Man, that's
I know
that took me back. Tim, you're a funny guy.
But look, like Chris Hamilton said, you can write it off on your taxes. This is a business expense.
That's right.
This is a business to business expense. And it is absolutely a tax deductible item. We've checked with Trucker CFO, who is our accountant, and he has assured us that this is absolutely a legitimate business to business transaction and therefore a cost of you doing your business. Right. But Tim, yeah, it's never going to be that cheap, bro. It's never going to be this cheap again. It just won't be. Like we said, as of Labor Day, the price will be bumping back up to $57 a month, and I still think that's a good deal. Others don't. That's fine. They're probably never going to be our customers, and they're mad because, at one time we even bounced around charging $10 a month, and people were like, "Are you crazy? That's too much." Even though I could prove that I had saved that individual, I don't know, $5,000-$10,000 in the last 12 months.
Yep.
But that's cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
I ain't mad. Honest to God, I'm not mad.
We really hope that you guys took the information that we've given out for free. The fuel card. If you're following our advice on fuel management, dude, you're saving $200 a week easy. And we are really transparent about, we're not saying that the ES card is the end all be all solution for everybody.
Right.
But if you follow what we actually teach, what we have taught in the groups and what we've talked about on the show is do your daily shopping. I literally shop for fuel every day as part of my pre-trip.
Right.
My pre-trip inspection is just not a pre-trip inspection. It's a full
It's a
Should I
getting
use the
ready for
word?
the day.
Yeah, it's a getting ready for the day. Fuel, routing, call Charlie and see if he's up.
Right.
You know?
Weather check. I mean, all these things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important. And again, like you were saying, we don't say just use the ES. We're
Right.
saying use every tool you can get into your toolbox. So if you're on Mudflap, by all means, check the Mudflap. Check it versus ES. Check it versus this Prime Plus Advantage thing that, I've been doing some research on that I still don't think is the better deal. Whatever. Check it against whatever you have.
Yeah, if you pay for Truckers Pass, did you know that they have a Mudflap type deal for that? If you're paying for Truckers Pass, I don't know if on the free one. I paid for it because Panther doesn't provide any navigation solutions for us. So I'm like, I'm just going to pay for it. You know what I should have done through Charlie? Remember when Truckers Path first went to pay to play?
Yeah.
And they were saying $200 for life.
Yep.
And I'm like, I ain't paying that.
That's ridiculous.
Now I'm paying 20 something a month for it. And
Right.
I need it. But it'll pop up with, hey, there's this deal that this loves. Do you want that deal? And you click on the thing and it's got your credit card information, all that stuff. So, oh shoot, I forgot to call Dennis back. I pulled a Charlie. I'm sorry, Dennis.
What?
That was like 2 days ago.
My bad.
Oops.
Well, wait, not my bad this time. Anyhow, I actually started returning some calls today. I'm
You're
just
a
saying.
bad influence on me. That's what I'm going to say.
There you go. And you were a good influence on me because I called some people back today. Whatever.
Tim was born on April Fool's Day. Wow,
that explains.
That's like a double celebration right there.
Right. Craig, I appreciate it, man. And ride or die, bro. You're one of them guys, man. You are one of those dudes. And we absolutely appreciate you. And we got your back whenever we can do it. Ride or die. I'm just saying. And Craig puts up with my absolute foul potty mouth in real life. And it's crazy because Craig's not one of those dudes that throws those words around.
No, he's not.
And I am. And it doesn't even faze him. Like he doesn't even blink. And I am amazed by that. And thank you for being that way. Because I've been around, I'm going to say a derogatory term and it's probably going to get me in trouble. But like the Bible thumpers, I'm not a religious guy. I have my own beliefs, whatever. We're not going to get into this. But some people are so focused and so, and I get it. I get it. I ain't mad. And I try to be good around those folks.
It's kind of funny
It's
because
tough.
our coach Josh and I are of the same faith. And
Right.
sometimes during our coaching calls, we start talking inside baseball a little bit. And Charlie's just like.
So here's the funny part is I was a member of the same church back in the day. So they start talking inside baseball. And I'm like, I've heard these things before. I know what you're saying. You're calling me a heathen without calling me a heathen. And I appreciate that.
Bless
Thank
your heart,
you.
Charlie.
Exactly. But it's all good. I mean, so Craig, we got you, bro. I don't even know where I was going anymore. I'm just gone. Oh, good Lord. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. Apologize. I know it's not great video here.
Yeah, Craig mentions that Matt is also like him.
Right.
So Matt, again, man, we love the members that we've met. And the first time I met Matt was at the Troutdale Terminal. And I'm out there just having fun with one of my former students from years ago was there. He had this new puppy at the time, so I'm petting the dog. And Matt comes out. He just looks at me for a while, which is uncomfortable when Matt does that because he's so big. And he's like, "Hey, you're Jeff." I'm like, yeah. And then we met up at Driver Appreciation Week a couple weeks later, and it's just been a growing relationship ever since. So, and Matt, I promise you, I will get some bungee cords on my grill soon so that you can find my truck again.
Yeah, Matt doesn't know how to find him without those bungees, man. I'm just saying. But he was good at finding those bungees.
Oh,
that dude would just appear. He's like, "Hey, Jeff, I'm outside your truck."
Which isn't freaky at all.
No, especially not when you look out there and you see that monster of a man. He's Like if he was standing next to me, you would only see his chin right now. I'm pretty sure. Just saying.
Yeah.
Big dude, and I'm 6'3". Come on, I mean the dude's like 19 feet tall. That might be difficult, but you know what? David Dunn is throwing out Kevin Rutherford quotes, and you know what? I have no problem with those quotes. Do the hard work, master the journey. I have no problem with those at all. A lot of the only reason I'm in business today in trucking is because of Kevin Rutherford.
Yep.
I can absolutely say that 100%. I have no problem giving credit where credit is due. So I'm just saying, 6'5" is 19 feet tall, Matt, in case you're wondering. He's like 6'5", whatever. Whatever. But yeah, David Dunn, seriously, I mean, and these are, I still tell people these exact same things. Do the hard work. Doing this hard work is important. And a lot of people don't want to do it. They just, I'm going to buy a truck and I'm going to make tons of money. I'm going to make $1 million.
So since we started doing this, you know how the Facebook algorithm works, right?
Right.
Since we started really promoting what we do, I've started seeing more ads for other people that do what we do, sort of.
Right.
But they're promising that sort of stuff, dude. They're like the secret way to millions in trucking.
Right.
And I'm like, how do you even promise that, man?
Oh my God.
I mean, by the time
that's gonna happen.
I mean, if you do it like our acquaintance Sylvia, where she's got 16 trucks, okay, sure.
She's slaying.
And she's been really successful, but it took her a decade to get there.
Right.
It wasn't overnight like a lot of these guys are telling you. And you'll never hear us promise any of that because it's just not, we would have to know you better than you know yourself to make that call. There are ways to make a lot of money in this industry.
Right.
Regardless of what people tell you, it is a good industry to be in. You just have to do it right. And you have to be prepared for the long haul.
And they take hard work.
Right.
Hard work doesn't mean physical work sometimes. Sometimes it's mental. Sometimes it's just doing the things that you don't want to do, but you need to do.
Right.
That's hard work sometimes.
One of them is we really advocate for saving a little bit of money every chance you can.
Extremely hard to do some days.
Really hard to do sometimes. But
I'm an impulse buyer.
I know one of the ways that Rob got to where he is there was another contractor, a small fleet owner that was retiring.
Right.
And he bought that guy's fleet. He bought a fleet, which doubled his fleet size. So now he is where he is. But you know what he had to do before that? He had to do things right so that he was in a position to do that.
Yep.
Whatever your grand vision is for your future. We like to go out 10 years. And I've had people tell me, "Oh, that's so far out." Yeah, that's the point.
Exactly.
Charlie's seen me coaching people, and I tell him exactly, I know what 2034 Jeff is doing right now. Why? Because I have the vision. I wrote it down. I look at it every week. 2034 Jeff is doing this. And little bit of freebie here for you all. Once you have that vision, I've actually, Charlie, I don't think we've actually discussed this part of my future training. I've gotten to the point to where I ask myself, well, what would 2034 Jeff do?
Right.
I mean, just the other day, I had the choice between microwaving something out of my freezer and getting McDonald's, and I literally asked myself, what would 2034 Jeff do in this situation?
Right.
I mean, when you have the vision and you take the time that we're going to ask of you in the course material that we provide, when you take the time to actually write the vision out, then you could get to that point where you're like, I want to be that guy. I have a choice right now. What would that guy do?
Right. And that will move you towards that guy.
Right.
The little steps now.
And I can tell you,
hard work.
Honestly, it's a little easier for me to do those types of things because I've been into this stuff for so long. I mean, I've been studying this stuff for over 30 years and implementing a little bit at a time throughout my life. Charley agonized. Man, he was like, I don't know, man, but he did it. You know, his looks nothing like mine, by the way, just so
Right.
everybody knows.
Yeah, no, completely different.
But it's his.
Right.
It's his vision. It's not my vision. Why do I need Charley's vision? I don't. I need my vision. And be prepared for some of this too. I'm one of those people that I share everything with my wife. As everybody knows, Donna is my true partner in life and everything I do.
Shout out to the Donna.
I shared my vision with her, and she was a little concerned because some of the things didn't mesh with what we talked about when we first got married 30 years ago. And I tell her, well, at this point in my life where I am, this is honest. Now, will it change? Probably. And that's the other part of the hard work is recognize when your vision starts changing. Maybe you learn something from someone and you're like, oh, wow, that was cool. I'm going to incorporate that into my vision. Well, get back to the journaling and get it hammered out. Make that part of who you want to be. When you share the vision with other people, and Charley, I would say that be careful who you share the vision with.
Yeah.
When you go this route, when you really get into business and personal development, you're going to have people. Oh, are you
people you love?
What are you
people
doing?
Who love you?
Because here's the thing: it's not their vision; it's your vision.
Right.
Own it. Be honest. And the people that you share it with need to be people that can, say, "Hey, yeah, cool. I will support you in this."
You want to know one of the funny different things on Jeff's vision and mine? He can't even envision my part of my vision is 2034 Charley could be a great grandfather in theory.
You are a great grandfather now.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, literally, I have grandchildren that could be old enough to have children by then.
Yeah.
That's great. I started very young, and my kids started kind of young. I'm just saying.
Right. We have high hopes. We have high hopes within the next few years because, Mike's getting married in a month or two.
Yeah. If you're a great grandfather in 10 years, some things have gone a crazy route that we don't even need to talk about. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, everybody's vision is going to be different, but there is absolutely a chance that people you respect, people that you love, people that respect and love you back will tell you are absolutely crazy.
No.
Why don't you just keep doing this thing that you got going that's working just fine right now? Just do that. Stay in that hole. They don't mean to say it this way, but they're saying stay in that hole that you're in right here, right now. It's comfortable. It's safe. It's meh. Right?
Right.
You're not hurting. You're meh. You're okay. You're doing all right. Why are you going to put yourself out there and possibly create issues where and their words, you're going to fail, bro?
Maybe.
Right? But I can tell you that Jeff is not going to fail. I am not going to fail. I may not reach the goal. I may come up short. I may fall flat on my face, but I promise you that I'm going to learn from what just happened. And to me, that's not failure. I'm going to take that education and those newfound facts and figure out how to get past it another way.
Yeah, I mean, I would even say that, we meet people all the time that they end up losing their contracting business. Turn their truck in, they go back company. I don't see that as a failure either. As long as they're not giving up on themselves. This is a tough business. No doubt about it. What's the statistics on, Charlie? I know it used to be upwards of around 80%.
Yeah, I don't know. They keep
people going into it don't make it in the business. But if you let me put it this way, when I was younger in my 20s, I spent a lot of money learning to do things to learn that I didn't want to do that thing. Right? I went and got all the books and studied to become a Microsoft certified engineer. And I obviously did not do that. What I learned was I hated it.
Some people will look at you and say, you're a failure for that, Jeff. You failed. I say that was an education.
Yeah.
And not a failure. It allowed him to say, you know what? That's not my path. Let me find my path.
Yep. And, you know, I've thought about this a lot, Charlie. So I'm in my 50s now. And you look at some of the people that we have contact with right now, late 20s, early 30s, and they're just rocking it. And it's so easy to say, man, if I just would have, could have, should have.
Right.
Man, that's a pathway right down to the hot place.
It is.
That you'll get mired in that. Don't do that.
It'll kill you.
Let the past be the past. Get the lessons you can from it.
Right.
But
maintain the history.
What are you doing? You're an owner-operated trucker at a given carrier. You're not on a path to be on Wall Street. You are who you are. You are what you are. Embrace it. Make the best out of it that you possibly can.
Right.
Or switch gears. One of the two. A lot of people, you know, I have friends that, boy, they just never really did much, but they're happy in what they are doing. Obviously, the example I have from these friends of mine, I mean, I have one friend that still works at AutoZone. He just turned 50 a couple days ago. But you know what? The dude's happy. You see pictures, you go visit him and his mom and his family. They're happy people.
Right.
You know, I have nothing to say about that. Money is not everything, guys.
Right.
Yeah, there's things that you could do when you have money that you can't do when you don't. It does alleviate the financial stress out of life, which is great. But I think it was Tony Robbins. I think it was Tony Robbins that I first heard it from during one of his things on his podcast or something. The person you are now is the same person you'll be if you had $1 million tomorrow. So if you're a jerk now, you're just going to be a jerk with $1 million. How happy is that going to make you, right?
Matt poking you. I saw you lock up on it. Oh, more inside baseball. That's great.
Yeah.
We're just gonna move right along, Matt.
So James has been talking about what's going down on the border a couple times here.
Right.
Yes, he said that there was a tanker full of meth or something like that. That's interesting. I told you about the one I saw. Not saw, but I saw the article about it. Where the cartel had welded drugs into the frame of a big truck. And of course they got caught because everybody knows what a frame looks like. But you know.
Yeah, the dog alerts on the frame.
Yeah, they send them through the X-ray machine. And I can't remember how they put it. It was something like a non-manufacturer installed compartment in the frame.
Right. That sounds about right.
But yeah. So what else we got here, Charlie? I think we got on our soapbox a little bit there, which I love to do, but what else we got here?
Oh, I don't even know, man. What do you guys got? What are you after? James is talking about earthquakes in Dallas today. Yellowstone had an expression today. I don't know what that exactly means.
Expressions are good because it's relieving pressure so that the big eruption doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's good because isn't that the site of that super volcano? Just saying that would end the world again.
Yeah, I think they made a movie about it or something.
Right. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. I know there's been some stuff in the chat that I've missed. Chris Hamilton is apparently just bigger than an Oompa Loompa.
Oh, okay.
At 5'8". I'm
Well,
gonna
I'm
say that's
5'7".
I'm gonna say that's adequate. So I think you may be pushing Oompa Loompas. You're
I
welcome.
am 5'7" and 1/2. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, see that makes you not Oompa Loompa, definitely for sure. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
If I was much shorter, Charlie wouldn't believe I existed.
Las Vegas this year, yes or no? No. Not like we did ever before, that's for sure. Nothing. Hey, look, there's nothing stopping our community members from meeting up there, but Jeff and I will not be holding a live
Yeah,
gathering.
that was. You guys have no idea what a.
That
Yeah,
was very
that was-
expensive and on so many different levels. It was crazy. Man,
Yeah,
it was
I
fun.
honestly think that if Seabright hadn't sponsored it, we wouldn't
Oh,
have been able to do it at all.
right. It would have had bad things happen. Well, we would have done it. Wouldn't have been nearly as nice.
I'll tell you
It,
what, though, the food that we got was freaking amazing.
it was. We had a lot of it too. Because I think we had to order for 20 people, and we did not have that many people, which was
We had like
still
10
okay.
or 12 with all
Yeah.
of, including the speakers.
Yeah,
Yeah, what we're actually thinking about, and you guys that are in the community can let us know what you think about this. We're thinking about doing a virtual event next year. You know, we want to give the community some time to flesh out a little bit more,
right.
but do a virtual event where we can do the Zoom thing and bring people in that way.
Jeff's trying to die over here.
Because that way too, you know, doing a virtual event also gives us the ability to say, hey, you know, you can't make it, but hey, the information is gold. Here's a link so you can go watch it whenever you can watch it.
Right.
You know, we'll have the live portion of it where you can do a live Q&A with the speakers, but you're not going to miss out
Right.
on a virtual event.
And, you know, if you're a part of the community and there was a question that you have that didn't get answered, guess what? You'll have access to all of us and be able to say, hey, so here's what I saw. Here's my question. Answer that. And we'll be like, all right. Glad you asked the question. You know what my biggest problem is with people and questions? The people that don't ask the question they have.
Right. I mean,
care.
and there's statistically, again, numbers, you know, there is a statistic out there that for every person that asks a question, there's X amount of people that have the same question but never asked it.
Right. In any given group. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know,
be the one. Put yourself out there. Be the one that benefits from asking the question. You know what? I ask all kinds of funky questions of different people, and they're like, bro, you are broken. But here's an answer to your question, which they think I should have known the answer already, and I didn't. And I never would have got the answer had I not asked the question.
Dude, dealing with Tony Dennis all the time, we're asking him dumb questions. Because he'll just go on about insurance. We're like, well, hold up.
Right.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
You know?
And there are times where I feel absolutely stupid. And I don't like to use that word, but stupid. It's like stupid. Okay. And I'm like, I got to ask. And he's like, no, it's not a stupid question. I just, you know, it just never dawned on him that I didn't know what that thing was he was talking about.
Right.
And I find that in most places where I'm having to ask a question of someone, I'm like, God, this is going to sound dumb, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Because you know what? I want to know. I bet someone else wants to know, and they're too shy, embarrassed, what have you, to ask themselves. So I'll put myself out there. What are you going to do? Get mad at me? Point at me? Yeah. Take away my Cheerios? I don't think so. Whatever. I'm just saying. So never be afraid to ask a question. Seriously. You know, there are times where you will catch a little bit of static over your question. Just accept it, move on, take the answer for the value that it is.
We see that a lot, unfortunately, especially in the Swift group, the Swift drivers group.
Right.
Where someone will ask a question and they just get lambasted.
Oh my God.
Brutal. Why are you even a truck? This, that, and the other thing.
Right.
You know, I usually come in and say, look, here's the answer. Don't worry about all those other people. Just get your answer and move on. Don't even engage them. Don't try and fight them. or whatever. Because there's people out there that will be like, I didn't appreciate you, all of this, that, the other thing. Well, you're not going to stop the bullies from being bullies, especially on
Right.
Facebook where everybody's anonymous.
Yeah.
Just get your answer and move on.
By the way,
Somewhere in every post there is the actual answer.
can I just tell you that I hate in Facebook this ability to post anonymously in private groups?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I disabled that in the private Swift Facebook group that we run, the Contractors Corner Consulting group. Disabled it when it first came out. Somehow it got turned back on, and someone recently posted an anonymous question, and they will remain anonymous for now. They'll remain anonymous because it doesn't take away that. But I can tell you that I have disabled that feature.
Right.
Don't hide. Just ask your question.
Well, it's the principle of the thing, Charlie. We advocate owning your business, owning your future, owning your life. Own it. Truly own it. Charlie and I are both kind of not really famous, but neither one of us
Infamous.
have ever deleted a comment on Facebook.
Right.
Even when we're wrong.
Right.
Why is that? Because the conversation is going to be seen by other people that need to have the context for that answer when we're wrong.
Exactly.
They got to see the back and forth to understand the context. Otherwise, the answer means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Do I like to be wrong? I do not like to be wrong. But,
hate
you can't deny it when you are.
I hate being wrong, but I absolutely love learning something new.
Right.
What a contradiction that is, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
The Trucker Path Facebook group is among the worst for being rude, Tim said. Not in that one, so I'm pretty happy. I really struggle in some of these groups where it's just garbage.
A close second would be the Noah group. You got some people in there trying to help people, and then the people that think they know everything come in there. I don't know. It's sad. But even there, the answer is there somewhere. You just got to sort through the trolls.
So, look, I'm going to go back to Mike Henderson here. Mike Henderson, for those of you who don't know, went through a bankruptcy years back due to all kinds of things going horribly wrong for him in his trucking business. And he said the bankruptcy trustee that handled his case told him they don't ever question trucker bankruptcies. He said it's set up for us to fail. He said only restaurants fail more. Restaurants have a huge failure rate. Let's just be real. Right. But he followed up with, I just got right back up and restarted. Failure is just a state of mind. And I absolutely understand that. I don't want to file bankruptcy. Did it in 2000 for other reasons before I ever got into business. Just a bunch of stupid decisions when I was young and dumb. That just turned into something there was no getting out of under the old bankruptcy laws, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, long before I ever started my trucking path, that's for sure. But it's like you said, it's kind of a state of mind. Failure is you've given up. You didn't learn anything from it. You're just like, I'm out. I quit. And you know what? That's fine. There are people out there that they absolutely should. They've got to a point and they're like, nope, not for me. I'm done. I'm out. Right. Probably a good decision for those people. They should probably not be in business for themselves. It's just like when Jeff or I talk someone out of contracting. Everybody thinks that Jeff and I are just kumbaya, lease a truck, buy a truck, start your business. We talk way more people out of this thing than we help. Honest to God. And we've helped a lot of people. And I should rephrase that because I think that we've helped those people by talking them out of it.
Well, I can tell you exactly when it starts too, is when we start actually going over numbers.
Right.
It wakes people up. And then you have other people that we flat out say, man, now's not the time. And they do it anyway. And they do better than any other Swift contractor out there.
Right.
Those guys, unicorns.
Yeah.
But I will just point out that those are the people, though, that once they make the leap, they still talk to us, and we guide them through how to build those relationships, and they actually do it. So that's our kind of our feather in our cap, is if you do the things that we teach, you're going to be successful, but you have to actually do them. I don't know the answer.
I'm going to throw it up there just for fun. If my head were made of cheese, which I know it is not, how much would it be worth? That's a valid question. I think it depends on the market you're trying to sell your head of cheese in. I think you'd have to do some market evaluation, see what the market is bearing on that given day or in that month, on what your head made of cheese may or may not be worth.
Yes.
It is a silly question, and it's a fun question, and I get your point. That's fun. But I have an answer. I'm willing to discuss it if you'd like. I mean, we should probably do that on a private message or something like that, because I don't really think it pertains to Trucking Talks Live. But hey.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with the price of tea in China? That's my question.
I don't know. And, you know, if it's in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern ventricle, I don't know what to do with it either.
Oh.
So, I mean, there is that. Look, Chris will tell you, I worked hard at trying to talk this man out of it. He said, you tried to talk me out of it, but I didn't listen. And this guy came with decades of trucking experience, having never done the contractor side of things, always been a company driver.
Right.
I work really hard at trying to talk people out of this gig. It's not that I don't want you here. I feel that if I can talk you out of it, you had almost no chance anyhow.
Right.
Because your vision wasn't there. You didn't have a vision to work towards. There are some crazy visions out there. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been watching some of these Facebook groups, and some people have these grand plans that really are not based in reality or any kind of hard number data, anything. That's fine. Some of those people make it somehow. I don't know how they do, but they do. There are unicorns. They happen sometimes. I'm just saying. But, you know, on the grand scheme of things, you know, we try to keep our information very broad when we're out here in public like this that will pertain to more people than not.
Yes.
When we're discussing things with you one-on-one, you're going to get a slightly different take from us based on our feel and read of you, the individual.
Right.
And that is what coaching is. We need to adjust what we do based on you, based on your situation, your specific situation, right down to, you know, what are you really looking to spend on your Mountain Dew addiction every week?
Or your cigars.
Right? Exactly. It's part of my budget, man. And I've made some changes because there was a time when I was spending in the amount of about $600 or $700 a week on cigars. And I just worked harder to pay for it. Right? I made an adjustment. And then I thought, man, I need to find something different. And I made some adjustments. And I talked to some people that knew the cigar market and explained to them my particular the thing I was looking for in a cigar. And they, as my cigar coaches, were able to guide me to what it was I was after and save me ridiculous amounts of money every week. You know, Josh Hull, we pay Josh Hull money, right? He's helping guide us through our journey, our collective journey, Jeff and myself. And he's helping teach us the things that we don't know. You know?
Right.
And that's what we're paying him for. That's what our coach is for, is to help us do better, guide us. And he can say, you should do this, this, and this. But it takes Jeff and I to actually do those things, or it's on us.
Right.
I mean, they called, both of them called me out today. And they're like, it was funny because they're both trying not to hurt my feelings. Most people, well, okay, people who are super close and tight with me sometimes think that I have soft feelings. It's really funny. I don't think that I do. I will absolutely, we can yell and scream at each other about our differences if that's what it comes down to. And when we're done, I'm willing to go have a beer and smoke a cigar with you, and we're good. It's over. So they were kind of soft shoeing in on the thing they were calling me out on today. And I thought I'm like, look, just spit it out. Just get to it. Call me. In fact, I think I even knew where they were going and kind of outed myself and said, yes, I am not doing that thing. You are 100% right. I did add in why. I don't feel it was an excuse, but some may look at it as an excuse. I said, this is what my problem has been to date, trying to get these things done. And they said, well, then you need to plan better. And I thought, damn it, you're right. I ain't mad. I need people to hold me accountable. That's one of the things we're offering you guys in this community, is share your vision, share your plan, work through these things with us, and then be willing for us to hold you accountable, just as we expect you to hold us accountable.
Right.
If we don't deliver on something, you need to hold us accountable. We welcome that. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk just to be a jerk. You guys know what I'm talking about. And those of you who may be that way know what we're talking about. Of course, nobody in here would be that way ever. I'm just saying. But, you know, people may be on the replay watching it. Who knows? Hold us accountable to the things that we say we're going to do. And when we don't do them, you absolutely need to point it out. I have no problem with that. Bring it to us. Throw it at us. We're down with that. It's fine. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I know, James. Cigars. Oh wait, you spend $600 a month on cigarettes? That's oh, you know what?
A month? I mean, you know.
That's fair. I mean, because, you know, they are like $60 a pack these days. So, you know, and they're like the size of a pencil. Cigarette? Wait. Cigarette? My cigars. Better value. Just saying. Whatever. Whatever. That's terrible. Can't help it. Mike Henderson sent a load 450 miles empty to Kansas City, then 1,750 to Portland, Oregon. Had to say no. I'll go to Oregon if I have to put too many miles on it, plus the road tax.
It's got too many empty miles on it.
I
might have tried to see if I could call that in Salt Lake.
All right. And I don't think I would have made the decision based on the empty miles. You guys, I don't know, some of you have heard me say that if I'm sitting in Florida and they give me a load that is completely empty and they're only going to pay me empty miles for it from Florida to Seattle, I will take that load every time. I'll be done with it in 2.5 days, and I will make a profit on that load versus sitting at the house with no load at all, and my truck costing me $132 a day to sit and do nothing. It said no T calls, Jeff. So yeah, it's a thing, right? It's absolutely a thing. I think you honestly need to do the math. I'm not saying you made a wrong decision. I'm going to say that I really would have sat down and ran some hard numbers on that. Because 1459 empty for 1750 loaded is absolutely still profitable, even with the Oregon road tax.
Yes. Do the math. Always do the math. Sit down with a pencil and paper and do the math.
Get
and
this.
then
Off the top of my head, I think the 459 empty would have covered the road tax in Oregon.
might have, yeah. What's the surcharge this week? Have you calculated that out yet?
It was, I can pull it up. Give me 1 second. I can tell you exactly what it was for Swift. Where is it? Wrong tab. That one. The average this week is 377.9 on the national, and that put the fuel surcharge at 0.412. So yeah, the empty miles at Swift, by the way, pays 85 cents a mile and no fuel surcharge. If
What's the
you're
average again?
3.779.
So those empty miles would have cost you $216.82 worth of fuel if you got 8 miles per gallon.
God, and if you're empty and only getting 8 miles per gallon, I'm just saying, but it's a good number to start with.
And $390 in revenue from those empty miles. So that's profitable.
After the cost of fuel or?
After the cost of fuel.
Gotcha.
No, before the cost of fuel.
Okay.
So my brain's not working today. What did I say? It was $270 in fuel.
I think so.
So $120.15 in profit for the empty miles.
And what's the Oregon road tax, Jeff?
Last I checked, it was 27 cents a mile. So figure it's what, 360?
So 27 cents a mile.
$97 in tax.
I threw it at 300 miles, $81 in tax. So yeah, I mean, that's still that. I think the empty covers it.
So yeah, you know, it takes a few minutes. I can tell you this though, folks, that when we first started really digging into this, Charlie and I, we would sit down and it would take 15, 20 minutes to do all the math on a load. Now I can do it in like 3. You know, it's the more often you do it, the easier it gets because you just remember the steps, right? No T calls. That's kind of interesting.
So
delivering on Saturday in the Northwest is tough, man.
Yeah. So with the fuel surcharge, at 1750 miles, that would have been a gross revenue of $2,733.50 for that 1750 miles with the fuel surcharge.
Right.
And the road tax is gone, covered by the empty. So let's call that a wash on the empty miles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, I mean, then it's a matter of what did the fuel cost you.
So here's the way I would also be thinking about, Charlie, is delivering in Oregon on a Saturday, probably not getting out till Monday.
Right. Fair. Absolutely part of the calculus.
If I could get another 1,000, 1,500 miles before midnight on Wednesday, that's a good week.
Yeah.
Because then you also got the bump for the West Coast on that load out. So there's all sorts of things to look at. You know, of course, when you're trying to project, there's no guarantees. My normal people that I used to work with at Troutdale, none of them are there anymore. So
right.
I don't know. Yeah, people we worked with for almost 20 years, Charlie, that are gone.
Right? How crazy is that, bro? Bums me out. But yeah, so I think that looking at the full math, Mike, I mean, look, man, stand by your decision, but I think you might not have looked at that decision completely.
Well, I can tell you that some of what I do over here at Panther is I'll be talking to the people that assign the loads. And they'll have like a little one, right? But I'm in a market that I know they have 5 loads a day coming out, and there's only 2 trucks there. So I'll just ask them. I say, well, you know, Is that the best you got? Well, and in this business, in the expedited business, they never know ahead of time what they're going to get. It's
Right.
all like Swift where they project a week in advance. So I have to make the decision sometimes. Am I going to roll the dice on a better load later in the day? Or do I take what they're offering me? And I
Right.
can tell you that it's now that I've been out here for a little bit and I've gotten a little used to what the different markets are, it's about a 50-50 if I'm going to take one of those shorter loads or not.
Right.
You know, and I'm starting to get to know the people that plan the loads a little bit and how they operate. And, you know, sometimes one of the cool things about over here is I can kind of get a feel for, so how important is this load to you? Is there a bonus involved? You know, maybe kick down an extra couple $100. You know, they still do that here. Swift hasn't done that in a long time. We used to tell you guys that when you were looking at going someplace like California, especially, basically the West Coast, ask them, is there anything left in this load that you could kick down?
Right.
And they would tell you, well, right now, with the market the way it is, there is no money in those loads. So that's not a thing at Swift right now. But it still is in the expedited world, let me tell you. You know,
I did some more math while you were talking, Jeff.
uh-oh.
The 1750 miles at 8 miles per gallon was 218 gallons of fuel at 377.9. That's a cost of 826. Off of that, 2733 in gross revenue after the empty miles had been eaten up and the road tax paid.
How much?
So the mileage rate was 156.2 for 1750 miles. That was a gross revenue of 2733.50. Subtract from that 826.65 in fuel costs. You're still looking at 1900-ish, right? In profit.
Okay, so let's say you didn't get any other load, and let's say your fixed costs are about $700. So you still make $1,200 for that run.
Right. I don't know. So I think running the numbers is important there. You guys, we're coming up against our time here. So if there's any quick questions you got for us, if not, drop them down in the comments after the show ends, and we'll do our best to answer those questions down there. Once again, thank you guys for hanging out with us every week. It's really, I know I say it a lot, but it does mean a great deal to us that you take time out of your day, and some of you guys actually plan to be parked at this time just so you can be here live and be a part of the live thing and chat. And those of you catching on the replay, man, we dig you guys too, because you guys always chime in, and there's a steady replay gang out there that, you know, we can always count on some questions or comments and things like that when they check in with us after the show. And we love you guys. I'll say I love you guys. I've got mad love in my heart for our folks, and I'm very appreciative that you're here. Once again, we will be here next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, like we are every week. I dig you guys. Seriously. Look after each other. No one's out here looking after us but us. Jeff will say, keep the rubber side down.
That's right.
And you guys stay safe and make decisions based on facts, data that is logical, not your feelings. I think that's a good spot to end it.